morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at some new tins that have gone and been revealed. And I'm just going to put it out there right at the beginning. These tins are really good. People are going to really like these tins. These tins are going to be very popular. And I know I say that about a bunch of products recently. Things like the Hops Dubwool. That was a product I thought was going to be very, very popular. And in my defense, that did actually sell out pretty quickly. So, yeah. And then the Team Rocket's Mewtwo, for instance, that box, which is very relevant. We'll get to that in a moment. But again, that was also very, very popular on release. Well, these tins are going to be on that same kind of level. They look awesome. What we've got here are Team Rocket tins. And I'm afraid they're not that imaginatively named. They are called Pokémon TCG Team Rocket tins. Okay then, cool. But just like the box I showed you a moment ago, hey, we've got ourselves Team Rocket's Mewtwo. And what is very interesting about this, it's another regular artwork. Why do we need a third regular art of this card? I'm not entirely sure. If I'm perfectly honest with you, I think there's a strong argument that we don't need another regular art of this card. But nobody really cares about that because we are getting it. Also, I put it up on the screen, but it's obviously Hops Zacian, not Hops Dubwool. Although, in my defense, there was a Hops Dubwool in that product, but it was a Zacian tin. Let's be clear about that. So we got a Mewtwo here, and like I say, it is a third different artwork of the same card. And bearing in mind, this is Mewtwo. So if we go to the set, if we go to Destined Rivals, we've got regular art of Mewtwo, but then of course it's an EX, so we got a full art, and it's a big EX, so we've got ourselves a gold, and then of course we got the special illustration rare, which is one of the biggest cards in the entirety of the Scarlet and Violet era. There's a bunch of different prints of this Mewtwo. For anyone keeping count, that's now 6 different prints of this Mewtwo already, and it only came out like really recently. Yes, we got 3 regular prints now, plus 3 fancy prints. Honestly, I kind of want another regular print of this Mewtwo, because I really like the idea that we would have like 4 regular prints, so we could have a playset of this without even going for a fancy version. That would be weird, frankly, but also kind of cool. Now, before we get any further, I should go to the back of the tin to tell you what's going on here. Here's how it reads. Aim for world domination with Team Rocket. Bring your ambitious plans to fruition by joining forces with some of Team Rocket's toughest Pokémon. With this tin, choose the strategic mind of Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX, the potent toxins of Team Rocket's Nidoking EX, or the prideful power of Team Rocket's Persian EX as a foil promo card. Then discover more Pokemon and trainer cards inside a handful of booster packs. And then it lists there that you get a foil promo card, 5 booster packs, and a code card. Remember, with these tins, general rule is there will also be a portrait version. So we have these landscape versions that have 5 packs. They've traditionally been for North America. And then we're going to have a portrait version with 4 packs, which has traditionally been for Europe, although that's not as hard and fast a thing as it was a little while ago. Time was that it would be very standard. The portrait 4-pack tins would be for Europe, the landscape 5-pack tins would be for North America, and never the twain shall meet. Not there anymore, but it's still a nice rule of thumb. So okay, that's pretty cool. I've shown you the Mewtwo one. What are the other 2 available? Well, it's Nidoking and Persian. All Team Rocket's Pokemon, all kind of lovely, all ones that I think people are going to like. And of course, other versions of these cards are available over in Destined Rivals. We did, of course, get Nidoking as a regular, and as a full art, and as a special illustration rare. But interestingly enough, Persian we didn't. Persian, we only actually got a regular and a full art. There was no special illustration rare of Persian. Does it really matter? No. But, now we got another version. Nidoking, worth pointing out, you can now actually do the whole having 4 different prints so you can play a playset without having to double up on any of the prints, which I know for some people is important, so it's nice that we've got that option here now. And as you can see, these are all alternate arts. Here's a Persian tin next to the Persian to prove that it is in fact alternate art, and here is the Nidoking tin next to the Nidoking to prove that it is in fact alternate art. And these are, of course, very inessential products. Nobody needs these tins, but it's nice to have them as alternate arts, and it's nice to have that guaranteed EX. Kids love having these presents whereby you get the guaranteed EX, but then you get some packs where you could get lucky. And, of course, it's nice to have the alternate arts, and if you want to play these, it's nice to have them available. Do you want to play these? I'm not sure. I've always loved the Persian. I think the Persian is a super interesting card because it's not for Cruel Slash, that's terrible. But Haughty Order lets you reveal the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck, and then you can find an attack on one of their Pokemon and copy it and use it as your attack, which certainly has options for hilarity, but the reality is it's very luck-based if your opponent isn't trying to fight you off here. And all your opponent needs to do is just search out the good Pokemon with the good attacks from their deck, and then they can kind of make sure you never have any good options. It's wonderful, but it's very, very gimmicky. Similarly with the Nidoking, it's another really fun card. Free energy, 100 damage, and you get poison. But during Pokemon Checkup, you put 8 damage counters on rather than 1. But the reality is, it's a stage 2 that takes free energy, and it takes time to build up the poison on top of the underwhelming initial damage. See where I'm going with this? Just not that great a card. Now, the Mewtwo is potentially a very good card. There is a huge amount of potential coming in with the Mewtwo here, but it's just not really worked out. Firstly, it's got the ability that says you can't attack unless you've got 4 or more Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. And I'm sorry, but I honestly don't think this card is good enough to have that ability as a downside. And then free energy, 116. You can discard up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon, doing 60 more for each one you discarded in this way. You get up to 280, but 280 isn't exactly humongous. And then you got to play around with Team Rocket's energy, but it's a free energy attack, not a 2 energy attack. And then you've got to have your Team Rocket Spidops to get the energy back so that you can then discard it. And it just turned into a bit of a palaver, honestly. So, yeah. Like the idea of Team Rocket's Mewtwo, don't think it's actually that good. I've seen it make some waves in Japan in little tournaments here or there, but I don't think it's that great. But here's the interesting thing. Look at the pack selection. This is what is going to make these tins particularly sought after. The pack selection here is busted. The packs here, and there's no guarantee, but the fact that they have given us this in the promo images I really do think is instructive. 3 Destined Rivals, 2 Journey together. That's kind of ridiculous. Now, it's also worth pointing out that there's no guarantee this is what we get, as well as also pointing out that if there is a 4-pack tin, then things are going to be a little bit different. Again, you have been warned. There we go. However, I'm just saying that Destined Rivals is a very good set right now, which is selling out left, right, and center. And Journey Together was selling out ridiculously initially, not quite so much since then, but let's not pretend that it's not kind of gone a little bit silly as well. And you add that all up, oh, ladies and gentlemen, there is some very, very interesting stuff going on here. The promos are cool, but it's honestly the pack selection that makes these tins tick. And assuming that the pack selection is as we think it is, and I do think it is going to be as we think it is, these are going to be very, very popular. That alone makes me very, very happy. I should say that we have a release date of September the 5th here. So look out for them on September the 5th. And actually, shout out to the lovely Primal Lugia over at Poker Guardian, who has actually gone and found images of the 4-pack, the portrait tins as well. I did tell you we should be getting 4-pack versions. Well, wonderful news. We now do have the 4-pack versions. Do please bear in mind, I mean, you can look at the back of the tin when you find them anyway, but the portrait ones where you can only see the picture of the Pokemon, those have 4-packs in, and the landscape where you can see the whole card, those are the landscape with 5-packs. I gotta say though, if we're getting all Destined Rivals and Journey together in the 5-pack tins, I can't guarantee for the 4-pack, but it does seem kind of likely they'd want to do a similar thing there as well. Either way, these are cool. People are going to love them, but I've told you all about them now, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.